Buenas and half a day, everyone. This is Gabriela Diaz. I'm currently studying at the University of Guam this semester, and I'm studying here through the National Student Exchange Program. So for this week's video, I had a really busy week, and I actually took two of my big exams, my big midterm exams this week, and it's really nice to have gotten those out of the way and all that weight off my shoulders. But that being said, I wasn't really too busy during the week as much as I normally would have been. Like I said in my last video, I came down with a little bit of cold, but I'm recovering really well and I'm feeling a lot better. So I've been a lot more active. I started going back to some of the routines that I had that I've talked about in previous videos, keeping up with my running and a lot of my hobbies. While I'm here, and just doing things that I enjoy doing here that I won't be able to get once I go back to my home campus, really, and just again taking advantage of some of the things that are only offered here and adjusting my needs and my schedule to whatever's available for me while I'm here. So in thinking about having attended this big event today and really spending the bulk of my day helping out with that event and volunteering, really thinking about how much I really needed something like that, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in a little bit, but it makes me think about some of the opportunities and some of the access to things that you won't necessarily get if you're living on campus in a dorm. But I remember a couple videos back I mentioned I don't live on campus, and I live at I live with relatives. And I live currently at my auntie's house, which is only 10 minutes away from my host campus. And even though it's really close, it gives me a lot of liberty, and it gives me a lot of freedom and accessibility to events and things happening out in the community and outside of the campus. And so I really appreciate that, and I really love taking advantage of that while I'm living off campus. So in thinking about this event and really wanting to devote this week's video to it, I have to say that it's not the average typical trip to the beach, hike up a mountain or scuba diving expedition that you'd see in most travel vlogs. And that's what I really appreciated about this. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but that an event that was so informal and so not simple necessarily, but just, a local event and coming together of people was really powerful, and it was definitely much needed for me, especially after these past 2 weeks of being sick and being really busy with schoolwork and midterm exams. And I guess, I can start off by describing this as basically it was a fundraiser organized by some of the members of the all-island class of 1968, which is a group that really is made up of all the people on Guam who have graduated in 1968 that year from all the high schools across all the villages here on Guam. And so they all come together, and some of the members actually organized this fundraiser to support the construction of a traditional Chamorro house out in Balboa Park in Southern California. Basically, and this project out in California is going to be really headed by a group of Chamorro people living in San Diego. And it's an initiative to educate about Chamorro culture and existence and identity, I believe, really outside of Guam, and to really emphasize that you can still definitely have an indigenous identity and claim to a certain place even when you don't live there, you may not live there, which is really, really important, especially for the kind of work that I want to do and the kind of work that I'm doing at my home campus and here in my host campus as an Indigenous Studies major. So the organizing, some of the members of the 1968 all-island class here, they got together and they decided to put together this fundraiser to support, our relatives over in San Diego doing this project. And so seeing the communication between the two groups is really empowering. But then seeing how that fundraiser was really developed out here by some of the members living here, including my auntie, who has been working really effortlessly these past couple weeks, especially, getting all the logistics in place for the exhibit and everything, and really communicating with people and networking. It's been really nice seeing her get together with other people who are just as passionate about, Chamorro culture. So the fundraiser actually took form of like an exhibit that they held at the Guam Museum, which is really cool because, the Guam Museum's in the capital in Hagåtña, and so it's a pretty good place for like having a good turnout and bringing people, especially on a Sunday when there's mass right across the street, and people can make their way over to the Guam Museum, or people who are just going through the Guam Museum can come check out the exhibit. It was basically an exhibit, right? So they have this room, and they had different tables of different treasures and things that were collected and really highly celebrated by different families and different, members of the All-Island class of 1968. So there was a whole table devoted to the Vietnam War, like memorabilia and books and work on that. And there were, like right across, there was like a table with frog decorations. There was also a lot of tables on, traditional art forms such as weaving. So it was really cool to see all of that in the same space and to see how that brought everyone together here. So I was helping volunteer at this event, and I helped, handle tickets and handle money and everything like that. And, just sitting there and watching people and helping people set up their things and seeing, hearing some of the stories about some of the things that they broke out and how meaningful some of these things were. And mind you, like things that, people would have in their attics or in their basements kind of just sitting there, and they never really remembered up until, this event was, like a couple weeks away, that they needed something to put out on their table. And so they would forget that these really, really meaningful, valuable things were hidden away or stored and not accounted for or taken stock of. And so they would go and get all these things and just be flooded with memories and really good energy and just good memories about a lot of the things that they had. So what was really special to me, for instance, is just really personal and really intimate for me, was the auntie who I'm living with now. Her exhibit featured a whole bunch of birds. And so, you see these things, and it's just a bunch of bird decorations. There's like really small birds, really fat birds. It's a really cute, collection of birds. But, it's all the more meaningful when you read, the exhibit label that she wrote up for it. And, knowing my family history and our genealogy and our family history on my dad's side of the family, my lolo on the Filipino side of my family, on my father's side, he was also bird clan from the island of Pohnpei. And so we have a really special kinship to birds back in Pohnpei, and, we have that connection, we have that kinship. And, talking and hearing about these stories about my lolo and keeping birds and really having a fascination with birds here, living on Guam, and maintaining that kinship and really having that was really powerful. And especially when, that's reflected by this collection of birds on the table. So it was a really great way to end off, the past couple weeks that were really stressful, really hectic, and really get this week started on a really good note. Especially knowing that, how bittersweet it is that we just ended our 9th week on our study abroad program. So, I know that we're going to be going back to a lot of us are going to be going back after a semester to our home campuses. And it's really bittersweet for me because I'm just starting to develop such an immense and such a strong admiration and deeper respect for being home and for my community and for our history and language and our culture and all of our political sovereignty movements here. I'm developing such a strong connection and appreciation of all of these things and being back home and being here. I'm developing all of that, and I'm coming to the realization that a semester really isn't enough, and that really no amount of time that I'll ever spend back home on Guam will ever be enough to feel fulfilled enough to leave and go back anywhere else. And so that's been it's been a big part of my personal growth this semester, especially these past couple weeks. I have to say that it's been really emotional as well, being here, knowing that I'm gonna leave really soon, and like I'm never actually ready to go home. And so with that being said, I really want to try and take these next couple weeks, really take advantage of these next couple weeks. And even though I'm going to be busy with preparation for final presentations, final papers, and final exams, that, you know, I need to take in as much as I can before I go back and I head back to my my home campus back in Minneapolis. So I guess on that note, I look forward to, you know, whatever these next couple weeks bring me, and especially my time here, the remaining time that I have here. But to end off this week's video, I want to say Tsizuos Masi to everyone who helped organize this event that happened today, and you know, it really turned out really amazing. So Tsizuos Masi for all your work and your energy and all the time you put into this. And I wanted to say Tsizuos Masi to everyone who watched this week's video. Please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more content, and I'll see you guys next week.